On December 4, 1872, in the gray expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, the crew of a ship named the Dei Gratia discovered something that would become one of the sea's greatest mysteries. Not treasure, not wreckage, but a vessel sailing alone, in an eerie, profound silence. That ship was the Mary Celeste. She was found adrift, her sails partly set, her cargo of industrial alcohol intact, 6 months' worth of provisions still in the galley. The ship was seaworthy and undamaged, but not a single soul remained aboard. Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and all 7 crew members had vanished without a trace. What happened in the days between their departure from New York and this ghostly discovery? For over 150 years, this mystery has captivated the world. Welcome to the search for answers behind the enigma of the Mary Celeste. Before becoming legend, the Mary Celeste was a 282-ton brigantine built in 1861 on Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia. Originally christened the Amazon, her early years were marked by misfortune. Her first captain died during the maiden voyage. She suffered collisions and changed hands multiple times. In 1869, a consortium of New York merchants purchased and refitted her, renaming her Mary Celeste. To command this vessel, they chose Captain Benjamin Briggs, a 37-year-old master mariner from a respected seafaring family. Deeply religious, methodical, and known for his sound judgment, Briggs was no reckless adventurer. For this voyage to Genoa, Italy, he made an unusual but telling decision. He brought his wife Sarah and their young daughter Sophia. This choice reflected his confidence that the journey would be safe and routine. His crew of 7 were all experienced sailors. The cargo: 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol destined for fortifying wine. Valuable freight, but dangerous due to its volatile, flammable fumes. On November 7, 1872, under fair skies, the Mary Celeste departed New York Harbor. 8 days later, the Dei Gratia, commanded by Captain David Morehouse, an acquaintance of Briggs, followed the same route toward Gibraltar. On December 4th, approximately 400 miles east of the Azores, Captain Morehouse spotted a vessel on an erratic course, her sails in disarray. After receiving no response to repeated signals, he dispatched his first mate Oliver DeVoe and second mate John Wright to investigate. What they found defied explanation. The ship was completely abandoned. The single lifeboat was missing. The ship's chronometer and sextant, essential navigation instruments, were gone. Yet a 6-month supply of food and water remained. The cargo was virtually untouched, with only 9 barrels found empty or damaged. In the captain's cabin, the scene suggested hasty departure. The bed unmade, personal belongings left behind, young Sophia's toys scattered about. The ship's final log entry was dated November 25th, 10 days earlier, noting their position near Santa Maria Island in the Azores. There was 3.5 feet of water in the hold, but the pumps functioned and the ship remained seaworthy. Most puzzling of all, there were no signs of struggle, no evidence of violence, no indication of storm damage severe enough to warrant abandonment. Why would experienced sailors abandon a sound vessel, with a toddler, for an open lifeboat in the Atlantic? This question has spawned countless theories. Let's examine the most credible against the evidence. Piracy or mutiny? Highly unlikely. The cargo was intact and valuable. Personal belongings, including money and jewelry, remained untouched. There were no signs of violence. Captain Briggs commanded respect, and the crew was small and carefully selected. Nothing was stolen. Seaquake or waterspout? A sudden seismic event or water phenomenon could have caused panic. The ship did carry unusual sounding, possibly from shifting cargo or water in the hold. But why not return once the threat passed? The vessel was clearly still afloat and functional. The alcohol fumes theory. This remains the most scientifically supported explanation. 9 barrels were found empty or leaking. Denatured alcohol produces highly flammable, invisible fumes that can accumulate in confined spaces. Imagine this scenario. Captain Briggs detects a strange odor or hears alarming sounds from the cargo hold. Opening the hatch, he might have seen vapor or detected the overwhelming fumes. Knowing the explosive potential, and with his wife and infant daughter aboard, he makes a split-second decision. Everyone into the lifeboat, now! The crew hastily loads the boat, possibly attaching a tow line to the Mary Celeste, planning to wait at a safe distance. But then, whether from rough seas, a fraying rope, or human error, the line parts. They watch helplessly as their ship drifts away. The explosion they feared never happens. Adrift in a small boat, hundreds of miles from land, they face the open ocean. This theory is supported by testimony from the ship's part owner, James Winchester, who acknowledged the barrels were badly coopered, meaning poorly sealed. The type of alcohol cargo could indeed generate dangerous pressure and fumes, especially in the warming climate as they sailed south. The conspiracy theory? Some suspected Captain Morehouse of orchestrating an elaborate scheme, but this makes no sense. Morehouse was a friend of Briggs. The salvage claim he received was modest, only a fraction of the ship's value, and was reduced due to these very suspicions. There is zero evidence of foul play. The Admiralty Court in Gibraltar investigated for 3 months, but reached no definitive conclusion. The Mary Celeste was returned to service, though her reputation as a cursed ship followed her until she was deliberately wrecked in a failed insurance fraud scheme in 1885. The Mary Celeste's impact extends far beyond maritime history. First, there is the human tragedy. A capable captain, his young family, and 7 sailors, all lost to circumstances we can only imagine. Their fate remains unknown. No bodies were ever recovered. Second, the story spawned a literary and cultural phenomenon. In 1884, a young Arthur Conan Doyle published a sensationalized account titled J. Habakkuk Jeffson's Statement, filled with murders and conspiracy. This fiction, often mistaken for fact, transformed the Mary Celeste into a supernatural legend divorced from reality. Third, from a modern perspective, this case offers profound lessons in crisis management and decision-making under pressure. Captain Briggs, faced with incomplete information and the safety of his family, made what seemed like the rational choice. Yet that decision, abandoning a seaworthy ship, may have sealed their doom. It's a stark reminder that panic, even when seemingly justified, can be more dangerous than the threat itself. Contemporary researchers, including chemist Dr. Andrea Sella of University College London, have conducted experiments demonstrating that alcohol cargo could indeed generate explosive vapor clouds. Their work supports the fumes theory, showing how technical factors, leaking barrels, psychological factors, justified fear, and environmental factors, deteriorating weather, could converge into tragedy. We will likely never know the final moments aboard the Mary Celeste. Did they watch their ship disappear over the horizon, knowing their fate was sealed? Or did they cling to hope until the end? The Mary Celeste is not a ghost story. It is a story about the unknown, about how quickly certainty can dissolve into mystery. It reminds us of the ocean's vast indifference and the fragility of human plans when faced with the unexpected. Perhaps the enduring power of this mystery lies not in what happened, but in what it reflects back to us. Our fear of the inexplicable, our discomfort with unanswered questions, and our need to find meaning in the void. The ship itself was scrapped long ago, but the Mary Celeste sails on, forever preserved in that moment of abandonment, forever asking us to imagine what we would have done, forever reminding us that some questions may have no answers. And perhaps that's the greatest mystery of all.